The 30 carbine round is on the left. The 223 or 5.56 would be on the right. This is our topic for today, so please stay tuned. Welcome back to the great state of Montana. This is the Carbine Cowboy coming to you today. Hey, I've got a little interesting topic that I wanted to discuss with you today. The topic is going to be between the M1 30 carbine and the M4 5.56. So you might want to pay attention to this. Originally, the M1 carbine was developed right before World War II, and it was designed off the 32 Winchester self-loading cartridge. It fires a 110 grain bullet at a velocity of about 2,000 feet a second, and was effective after about 300 yards. In the early 1960s, the United States military decided they wanted a lighter rifle for the jungle fighting in Vietnam. They came out with the M16 rifle that was chambered in a 5.56. Originally, it fired a 55 grain bullet, and the velocity on that was around 3,200 feet a second. So when you stop and think about it, by those standards, that was a pretty fast round. But this is where we start to deviate, and this is where things start getting interesting. The M1 carbine was invented right before World War II, and what they designed it for was they wanted a shorter, more compact, lighter rifle for troops that could not carry a full-size rifle. It was designed for officers, non-commissioned officers, machine gunners, artillerymen. It was never designed as a mainline battle rifle, but soon found favor with troops because this rifle only weighed 5.5 pounds. Originally, it fired a 15-round magazine, where later they designed it to fire a 30-round magazine. And M1 carbine saw service from World War II all the way up to Vietnam, and in some countries like Israel and all of that today, it's still in use. The 30 carbine, in its military form, fires a 110 grain full metal jacket. At the barrel, it's doing 2,000 feet a second. At 100 yards, it's doing 1,624 feet a second. And at 100 yards, it's delivering 645 foot-pounds of energy. At 200 yards, it's giving 490 foot-pounds of energy. So when you stop and think about it, for a so-called mediocre cartridge at 200 yards, it's delivering more than what most pistol calibers give at 25 yards. I mean, you stop and think about that. At 200 yards, it's giving almost 500 foot-pounds of energy. I don't know about you, but that's not too shabby out of a so-called mediocre cartridge. The 5.56 was originally designed, as I said, for use in the jungles of Vietnam. It wasn't very popular. Troops hated it. They claimed that it would jam all the time. Matter of fact, one of the most common nicknames for the M16 was the Mickey Mattel Jam-O-Matic. They hated it. Most troops would not be caught dead carrying one. Even up as late until 1968, 1969, some military troops were still carrying M1 carbines, M14 rifles, if they could lay their hands on a good AK-47. So that just goes to show you that right there. But anyway, that's a history lesson for another day. But the 5.56, and we're going to use this one as an example. This has got a 16-inch barrel, where the M1 carbine has an 18-inch barrel, so comparisons are about the same here. The 5.56, with a 16-inch barrel, fires a 55 grain bullet at about 3,000 feet a second. At 100 yards, it's traveling 2,458 feet a second. It's delivering 738 foot-pounds of energy at 100 yards. At 200 yards, it's giving 521 foot-pounds of energy. Now you stop and think about that for a second. Even though the 5.56 round is traveling faster, with a 55 grain bullet, which was the original military load, it's only delivering 738 foot-pounds at 100 yards, which is basically only 93 foot-pounds more than the heavier 110 grain 30 caliber round out of the 30 carbine. 93 foot-pounds of energy difference between the two. At 200 yards, it's delivering 521 foot-pounds of energy, whereas the 30 carbine is delivering 490. That's a difference of 31 foot-pounds of energy. Wait a minute, that's only a difference of 31 foot-pounds? Now, I don't know about you, but to me, the 30 carbine is not a rifle cartridge. It was designed as a replacement for the 1911 45 automatic. But yet, the 5.56 is designated as a rifle cartridge, and there's only 31 foot-pounds of energy between the two at 100 yards. I don't know about you, but 31 foot-pounds of energy to me isn't enough to write home about. Now, the reason why I kind of set this up for 200 yards is because 200 yards on a battlefield is about the normal range of engagement. So, when you stop and really think about it, this rifle weighs 5.5 pounds. This rifle was made by Colt. It's the A3 model with the heavy barrel. This one weighs 8 pounds. So, you sit back and you go, 30 carbine's lighter. This one's heavier. Both of them will take a 30-round magazine. So, there's really not that much of a trade-off, in my opinion. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about the 30 carbine and they say it's an anemic round, it's no good for anything, it's not even an adequate deer cartridge. But when you stop and think about the ballistics, a 55 grain bullet at 200 yards is only developing 521 foot-pounds of energy. Yet the 30 carbine's doing 490. And as I stated, there's only 31 foot-pounds of energy between the two. But yet, they will damn the 30 carbine for its so-called lack of stopping power. We yet praise the 5.56 over a difference of 31 foot-pounds of energy. Kind of makes me wonder, doesn't it? Now, where the difference is at 100 yards, the 5.56 is developing 738. Okay, 30 carbine is doing, look at my notes here, 645 for a difference of 93 foot-pounds. And you sit back and you go, let's just round it off to 100 foot-pounds. That's really not that much of a difference. But now, this is with the original load. The original 55 grain and the original 110 grain. Today you can get a plethora of bullet weights for the 5.56. I mean, you can range anywhere from a 40 grain bullet all the way up to a 70 grain bullet. The 30 carbine, you can go from a 90 grain bullet all the way up to a 125 grain bullet. But in original military form, we'll stick with those two cartridges, with those two bullet weights. So when you really stop and think about it, there's not that much difference between the two. If you notice between the length of the rifles, they're about the same. Not that much of a difference. So, I just thought I wanted to kind of clear the air for some people out there that seem to think that the 5.56 is a superior cartridge to the 30 carbine. I'm not going to really bore you anymore with ballistics and bullet drop and all of that. I'll let you make the decision. Price of the rifles. There's another one. Most of these M1 Carbines, if you get an original World War II one, you're going to pay over $1,000. But Auto Ordnance makes them. I understand there's a couple other outfits now that make them. You can have them for right around $700. This Colt, minus the optics, $800. So when you really stop and think about it, there's not that much difference in price. And with the ARs, the more gear gadgets and goodies that you have on it, and what are you going to pay for it? So, but with just the stock rifles, minus the optics, there was $100 difference between the two. Not much. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you some points to ponder. From the great state of Montana, this is the Carbine Cowboys, and see you next time.